And we should be live. Make sure the video's working. Video's working. Everyone can hear everything.
Yep.
Fantastic. Oh, I need to fix the title real quick. Mume Talk 25.
Wow.
Featuring Mammoth.
Mammoth, baby.
There we go. 1, 2, done. All right. So now the stream title should be updated.
It is confirmed.
All right. All right, so Mume Talk 25. Today we've got special guest with us, Mammoth. Mammoth, if you want to say hello.
Hello, everyone.
There we
Welcome,
go.
Mammoth. Welcome. Yeah.
Mammoth is a returning veteran player. You said you had a 12-year break since last you played, correct?
Yes, that is correct.
Awesome. Did you start playing again right before the birthday event or at the birthday event?
A little bit before, like
Okay.
a few weeks before.
I had to get a little warmed up first. Okay, gotcha.
Awesome.
Gotcha. And this is the first podcast since the birthday event, so we can go over and talk about, how that went. And
I hope so. Yeah.
cetera.
I think it was a smashing success. Yeah.
I think so as well. But before we do that, let's hop into, we got a couple news posts here. So let's check out the news. So we got 2693. Some changes to aliases. Oh, so now a big change. I don't know if this affects anyone here, but a big change is now you can add multi-commands in your aliases, which is actually kind of huge.
Ooh, nice.
So now you don't necessarily need a client to do like a mix herblore type thing, or get stuff out of pack and wear stuff. Some quality of life changes here. We had the 31st birthday event. We got recent changes to Evil People, ABR Camp, Hold, and Uppercase. Let's check that out. So we got news 2.6.
This one, I'm definitely scratching my head. So basically, as far as I can tell, for Evil Pukes, they just made things way more difficult.
Dude.
like basically the like Caravan is no longer welcoming, I think.
Why?
And stuff like that.
I love Evil Pukes.
I don't know. Like what?
It's such a unique play style.
I know. Yeah. Plus, when you accidentally go evil, like my Hobbit did, at least you have like a cute. At least you can go to Ingrove and buy herbs, or you used to be able to. Or now I don't understand what was the motivation. I don't understand. Like who woke up one day and was like, you know what the biggest problem facing Mume is? Evil player access. I just don't get it. But
it's probably Rogan. I actually did speak with Rogan there for a while because I went evil on Slaya and I wanted to game the system and kill evil mobs or kill good mobs to get more XP. And I was it didn't make any sense to me why it was so painful and lame. So I was talking to him about it and he's like, "We don't need your kind." And I'm like, "Okay, I see what it's."
Well, it's a hell of a lot more painful and lame now. Basically.
Yeah. Let's see. What's the change to hold? The hold command will now prefer. Oh, okay, not the spell hold.
Yeah, everybody thought it was hold spell, but no, it's literally just like hold torch.
Well, that's
another heavy hitter.
That is pretty sad then.
But actually, that is
Torch.
because it always is like you go to wield your equipment and and you get something gets in the wrong slot and you have to fix it. So that's a nice little quality of life buff. So
yeah. Well, it looks like that's pretty much everything for the updates here. Like I said, some other quality of life changes. So then, without further ado, let's hop into our special guest here today. So we got a Mammoth. Mammoth Man, would you mind telling us kind of, how you got into Mume?
Well, here I have to blame my brother. He started playing.
It's always a friend.
Back in '94, and the first time he showed me the game, we played at my father's workplace. He worked for the government, and we had the internet very early for our region. And the first time he showed me the game, I just laughed at him, and then for the next couple of weeks, I kept teasing him about playing some stupid text game. Then I tried it once. Played for 2 days and quit, and then I tried it again, and somehow I stuck there. I remember having some chats in Bree in PPI with some random person, and somehow we started exping together, and that's how it went.
What was your first character?
It was a Dwarven warrior. I think the name was Droi.
Okay.
For sure, he doesn't exist anymore. I think I made it to level 14 or so when I dropped him.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not sure if... I have no idea how to pronounce it in English. Manaya. Probably he was my second character. I'm not sure here. This was so long time ago.
Roughly what was this, like 90s or roughly when?
It was well, my brother found the game through a local computer magazine article about Mume. It was in '94.
Wow! Oh, awesome!
And
Man, we gotta go back. We gotta go track down these old magazines that mention.
Yeah, we need to start reprinting them. That's what we need to do. Apparently, it worked.
Yeah,
I'm assuming that was an Estonian and not English, or
sorry.
the magazine was that. I'm assuming that was an Estonian magazine, or was it
Yes,
in English? Yeah,
it was Estonian. It was a small local magazine.
might be hard to track down for us then.
So wow, 1994.
What, you mean you don't read Estonian, Den?
Yeah, you don't. Your local library doesn't
Get on.
have the,
Get on. What you doing with your life?
Strangely, I do not.
Well, 94, man. So I was very, when we had Woland on, who was a great interview, I was really surprised that Woland was like, oh, I didn't start playing till 2001 or something. But it's cool. So Mammoth, you're one of the truly like the original generation, like the
OG.
original PK era of Mume, basically.
I'm not so sure because I remember when I was still afraid to go east of Nenisul Bridge. Then there already were some big boys out there doing PvP. I recall Thorak was a big name. Then Huor, the warrior.
Huor, yeah, Dane. That's Dane. Yeah, Huor.
Oh,
wow.
Okay, I didn't even realize.
Yeah, Huor.
I didn't know that either, actually.
Yeah, Huor is Dane. Yeah, so
Oh.
when you go in Fornost, and you practice at the Warriors Guild, that's Huor there.
Oh.
Dane's mortal. Yeah, and there's a log. I don't know. I don't know if it's on Elven Runes or maybe it was back on Mume.net, but there's a log of the very first time they killed Balrog and Dane led it, and it was as Huor. Yeah.
Pretty sure that was on Elven Runes. I remember reading it.
yeah.
He got so excited. It was so funny.
Yeah, they were really pumped.
It was now you actually in our Discord here you put a link. Well, that was amazingly fast. Is that the article that you is that the same article that you originally read and discovered Mume?
Yes, exactly.
Holy
Oh my
shit, that's
goodness.
incredible, dude.
It's incredible because he literally posted it in.
That's amazing.
Like, about 5 seconds after I said, I don't know if we can track.
Oh,
it down.
Peter, dude, you got to show this, dude.
All
I
right.
have to run
show
this through
this
Google
on the-
Translate or something,
You
or
gotta show
maybe
this
you
on
can
the
translate.
pod. It's got like a Frank Frazetta barbarian image here, you know, like the like muscular barbarian and the like scantily clad in like dead orcs, like the old school like painting stuff. Wow, it's awesome, man.
Where is it? I'm going through all of the all of the scenes I have, and none of them have a view.
Oh, it's
of...
awesome, dude. This is so cool. You got to show. Oh, here you have Mume. This is an incredible article. It's like a very long article.
Yeah, the guy explained quite a lot there, like the different classes and how you can practice out of class as well, make like
Yeah, it's got a.
multi-classing.
Oh my, this is incredible, dude.
Let me set up a window capture here real quick. All
Yeah,
right,
yeah.
All right, there we go. That should be. You should be able to see it now. So what you just
Yeah,
went through
so-
it here.
Go to page 59. Go to page 59.
59.
Maybe try like going full screen or clicking the little rectangle at the bottom.
We might be able to just like zoom in like this. There we go. Does that work?
Yeah, beautiful.
All right.
So look at that classic Frank Frazetta art. I love
my
that shit,
gosh.
dude. I love
Wow.
it. That's how I see myself as I play. Yeah.
That's Hua right there.
Yeah. But dude, click to the next page.
Okay. That's it. Oop, I just clicked on a link. Wait, this is still Mume? Oh, is
Yeah,
it?
and dude, look at that.
Oh,
at
look,
that
it's
little
even got the
grid.
skills there on the look.
It's
You
got
got
the
like
skills.
you got
Yeah, this is
cleric,
amazing.
you got dodge, attack, backstab. Wow.
That's
wow.
awesome,
We
dude.
need something like this. Actually, this is so cool.
Yeah, we should translate this and put it on the
Oh
website.
my god, it
today.
goes on forever.
That's amazing. Thank you, man. It's so cool. That's so cool.
This is.
I think we should link to this original actually on the official wiki, because I mean it's amazing to hear how the game was in all these different magazines and stuff in the 90s, and just for historical reference, there probably should be a page on the wiki for just historical links of interest.
We need this in the Smithsonian. That's what we need.
We do. This is absolutely awesome.
And they even go over like alignment in here too. Oh my gosh. This reminds me of like, remember when you used to buy games and they would come with like a manual, like a paper manual with them?
Totally.
This is very reminiscent of that. I love it. We're gonna switch back to the podcast view.
This is so cool, man. But this is the all-time best artifact share on the Mume Talk podcast.
I mean, the Wolin maps were pretty great too.
Oh, that's true. Yeah. Okay, you're tied for first all time.
Do you use a mapper now?
Oh, yes. Actually, Mapper was part of the reason that I kept playing, because when I returned, I randomly found my backup of my settings, and then I went to I didn't have the client at hand, so I decided to try the official Mume page, and I was really surprised to see that, oh wow, there is a graphical map. It sort of works out of the box, and so I don't have to learn all the areas by heart. I definitely would have not had the willpower to start doing that, because Mume has grown so much.
The Jazri actually makes a great point in the chat, by the way. We should totally have this magazine printout. Like, this should be on the Mume website, like under like a history, like the backstory of Mume kind of a thing, This would look pretty cool there. But yeah, so you're using Mapper now?
Yes, I am.
Gotcha. Have you used any other Mapper clients in the past, or is this the only one?
Yes, it was quite late into my Muming career. A player of Diamonium.
Diamonium, yeah.
He contacted me and told me, hey, by the way, I have this mapper, check it out. It wasn't public back then, so
it was a top secret.
Yeah. Only his buddies got to use it. And I used his. But this was only like last couple of years when I played actively.
So the majority of your career was no computer map, just your memory and probably maybe paper maps. Did you print stuff out, or there were so many like not paper, but like there were so many just like JPEGs and PNGs, image files floating around back then. Did you use those, or was it all just straight up you just built your own mental map as you went?
No, actually, initially mental, of course, but then together with my brother, we started drawing map, like on, how you call this paper where you do math, where you have lines.
Grid, graph paper. Grid. Yeah.
So
I did the same thing. That was so much fun. We got to find a way to share that, because I think now everybody, you just log into Mapper and it's all right there. But man, I remember like venturing out of Harland and just like I literally had colored pencils. Like I had a blue pencil and a blue for water and green, and I was just like drawing the grid, like the graph exactly as you say, and like it was just it was a really fun thing, I mean, and obviously it's never going to scale. Like once you do 3 zones, you're exhausted. You're never going to cover Arda, but it was a really fun a fun kind of way
I totally agree. I remember when we finished map from Fornos to Bree to Nenisul. After this, I was so excited, thinking that, oh my god, I can XP in all of these areas with no problems now. It seemed impossible.
So how big was the world at that time? Like, was that like the majority of the world, or because this is back 94? You're saying?
No, actually, it was already pretty big. Okay. They had Grey Heavens. I don't think they had Blue Mountains.
Okay.
Not the Dwarven City. I don't recall that. Grey Heavens, Fornost, Bree. They had Tarbat for sure. Rivendell, and Orc Caves. But at some point, the Orc Caves used to be not where they are now. They used to be where the Sage is, like the old Orc Caves. I think. And that was it. And Moria was also somewhere, but I was such a newbie that I didn't even look that way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't think most people discover Moria for a long time. I don't think I went in Moria until like I'd played for like 6 years or something crazy like that. That's awesome, man. Awesome. So you took a long break, and then you said you came back a couple weeks ago, and then you played in the birthday event. What did you think of the birthday event?
Oh, it was really nice.
Yeah?
Nice to see so much action. Yeah, definitely.
So
the only completely sad thing was that Dark Side lost during the raid. Everything else was great.
Yeah, we saw the raid. It was pretty rough.
Well, they were doing well at first. It's but it's just so hard when you're even when you're that many out west there, because you have to contend with all those dwarf mobs plus pukes once the pukes start getting emboldened.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Plus, it's tough when you're. I mean, for that event, I assume there was very little pre-planning. I'm sure there was just a whole bunch of darkies on. And you're like, all right, we're gonna go to BM. It's different if you kind of have a pre-planned raid with like a leader or something. And I know that Mokshamura or player Luke, he was link dead for a lot of it, and it makes it more difficult.
It was fun though, because I always back when I was basically like in a perma noob state for like 15 or 20 years real life. But the big scary names, like the names that everybody knows, I had the idea that these guys were like super masters of territory, and they always kind of controlled the environment, and they always they'd always kind of like control, like fight on their terms, so to speak. But one thing I thought was really cool in the birthday was like all these classic folks came back, and everybody was just straight up brawling. Like everybody was just straight up banging heads. Like there wasn't nobody, it was like the whole elaborate like flirtatious like skirmish feint back, like trying to like tease and cut off stragglers. There was none of that. It was just straight up just like a bar fight, dude. He was just like smashing jaws and just going. So I thought it was really cool how at the end of the day the community just loves to just straight up fight. So I thought that was really cool.
Absolutely.
I think it's because you had all the elder players returning for the day. I mean, maybe I'm remembering the past, kind of the good old days with sort of rose tinted glasses. I don't know, but I mean, I seem to remember I mean, maybe not BM raids, but you mean, maybe I'm remembering wrong. But when I started, it seems like there were Bree raids and Fornos raids like every other day, because there were that many dark side players to do it.
Mm-hmm.
I guess it changes. I mean, I guess it comes and goes in cycles, because I remember for sure that there were some periods where there were not so many raids, because if you go to Bree, you will have their Lowin, the human cleric.
Oh yeah,
Lowen, of course. Yeah,
she tanked a bunch of warriors, and in Bree, the zone is so good aligned that her dispel evil kills, I don't know, an orc in 3 dispels or something.
Yeah, and that was before the level changes too, so those dispels were insane.
So what? It's so. It's interesting how. I mean, you think the Mume player base is probably like, I would guess, like 500 to 1,000 human beings in terms of like people who are knowledgeable about the game and its history. And there's like these legendary players that everybody just knows. And it's like, oh, 2002? Yeah, that was when so-and-so was really strong. We didn't rate, just like, it's like this private, like 30-year saga of heroes in our own kind of little mythology.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean I mean, and what 2002? That was that when, I think that's around, wasn't that when sort of Lowen and Elistair were sort of neck
going at it
at what? Well, going for 100.
Oh, probably, yeah. So, Mammoth, how did you mentioned you and your brother, which is awesome. That's so much fun. Like my video game memories with my brother are really cherished for me. Did you guys entirely just teach yourselves, or were there other players that helped you? Because one thing we commonly find in the pod is like people find a mentor and that really taught them. Did you guys find that, or was it entirely just like you did it all yourself? Or
My brother started quite a bit earlier than me. So I remember when I started, he was already quite experienced already, also in PvP.
oh
So
wow.
he taught me initially when I started. But sure, there were other players as well. But mainly I relied on my brother to get the initial info.
Who were like the big names at that time that you remember being the power players of that time?
Mm, well, like really early on, when I was not much involved in PvP yet, as I mentioned, I remember Huor, then Horak, a mage, then Elegil was some power cleric, Clovin, and from Dark Side I remember Donk and Labero. They are actually the same player now that I think about it.
Gotcha. Yeah, that's interesting because I'm a baby here, so I don't know any of those names.
Oh wow,
But
really?
I started super late, so I'm definitely not the person. But I always find it interesting because I feel like whenever you start playing, you have like you see the narrates and the people who are constantly involved in PK, and you're like, oh my god, those are the guys, and those kind of always stick in your
Those are the
head.
heroes.
Like,
Yeah, that's the epic. That's the mythology you start
yeah.
believing in. Yeah.
Like I've got a bunch of names in my head of people who were really important at the time, and I've talked to other people about them, and then like, yeah, you remember so and so, and they're like, no, who the hell was that? You know?
Yeah, we all have our own private mythology based on when you started and what the big crazy story the big crazy narrates when you were
But
starting.
maybe to add, like some years later, when I joined the dark side and started doing PvP, then I recall Dragoth was a really
Oh
big
yeah,
name.
classic.
Oh yeah, totally.
Everyone knows
Totally.
Dragon.
Then some sort of a loner guy, but really good in PK was Bazunga. Not sure if he's active anymore.
I
And then,
have
of
heard
course,
that name.
Norzu, Norzu
Yep,
Pack.
Norsu.
Yes.
Can't forget Norsu. Yeah.
Can't forget Rogan. But yeah, Rogan is definitely very
Norsu's
active these
not
days.
ready.
Wait, Norsu's not what?
Yes, it is. It is.
Oh,
But
okay.
it was kind of a thing for a while where he'd like deny
Oh, did he?
Norsu.
Oh, um, yeah, definitely very active right now. He's our Arata in charge for the most part. So what? So a lot has changed in Mume over the last 12 years. Coming back to it, what were some of the biggest differences that you noticed? What were some pros and cons? What did you think?
Mm,
Like how the game has changed?
biggest differences. Well, it's huge, first of all. Uh, like
Definitely been expanded a lot.
the world itself, yeah. And also the EXP loss during PK, it was reduced a lot. I remember back in the day, it would hurt a lot if you died in with your high-level character. But now it doesn't. And there's a lot of quests and also some quite old items have been given like new life, so to say, that they have been involved in quests. Like, for example, you have the power rings you can use to upgrade your herbal kit and mithril to mend shining as Starknarbork and so on. So there's a bunch of changes like that that I really like.
Have you? What have you been mostly getting into since you've been back? Have you been like exploring the new zones, or been mostly PK focused, or checking out the new quests? Like, what have you mostly been doing?
Mostly actually trying out the characters and the different builds. And initially, I just leveled up a new character just to get into it, to understand how things work. And but more recently, either I'm looking for PvP. If that's not around, then super mobs. If no super mob group around, then XP is like the last on the list to do. Don't really enjoy it.
Have you tried any of the new super mobs, like just even new super mobs for you, like stuff in Emon and the Old Forest Road, or even ABR?
Yes, new for me. Even the what's it called? The Druides and
Oh yeah.
Was it a Drake? Some kind of a Drake. These are new for me.
The
These I've
Dol
tried.
Guldur zone.
Yeah. Dol Guldur area, yeah. And also the ABR as well. The giant gook, or what you call.
What have your thoughts been in terms of like, does it feel like they're just more super mobs, more of the same? Do they feel like they're kind of different? Like, is there a difference in style that like has super mobbing evolved? I guess is my question. Does it feel like?
There's more variety, definitely.
Okay.
Like there's more different strategies or things you need to know, not to mess up. So yeah, I would say it definitely has evolved.
Gotcha. Have you died a lot?
Strangely enough, not to the new super mobs, but to the really old one. Like my group has died a little bit to the Balrog. But
well,
we are figuring it out.
Yeah, who's leading? I heard people have been doing Balrog. Who's been leading it? Just curious. If you can disclose that. Who's been
I don't know
leading
if they want to be known. Like
Sure.
I've led it a few times, and then there is a player of, well, I'll give out the name. It's player of Eladamri. Not sure how familiar you are with this name.
I'm not familiar with that name, but it's all right. There's a Balrog is like a veil of secrecy. I know how that goes. Where you don't want to be letting out who's in the group and what time and everything like that, because you gotta have ambushers and.
I'm totally against this kind of like having some kind of secret group. So I'll rat out all the names. So Spartacus.
Yeah, that's cool, man. So you came back. You just came back a few weeks ago and instantly just crushing Balrog. That's cool.
Well, I tried to get into a Balrog group I knew existed, and I was told it's full, and so I figured I'd just gather random people that seem to be nice and try to make it work, and so far it sort of is.
Nice. So I mean, everybody knows if you kill Balrog, is it 7 days exactly inclusive? So what is that? 7 times 20 plus, that's like 106. So if you kill Balrog within 168 hours, he's like OP, right? Is that how it works? You Balrog experts, right?
we are not. I mean, we have noticed definitely that sometimes it goes super smooth, and sometimes it's just like not really possible.
7 days. I guess like 7 days is definitely the sweet spot. You can totally do it in less, but it becomes much more difficult. Plus, the more important factor is not only is it more difficult, but you're not guaranteed a full load. Whereas 7 days, you're pretty much almost guaranteed.
Oh, that's what it is. Okay, I see.
So like, I mean, imagine spending 3 hours doing a Balrog and like one Vambrace loads. You're like, you know.
Well, that sounds like my entire Mume career, actually. But
you can do it every 4 or 5 days, though, if you have like a stable group with enough people in it. It's totally possible to do it sooner than 7 days, because I mean, for a while we used to do Balrog almost twice a week. So we do it every 4 days or so.
You certainly can. I would argue that the return on investment on that is just not worth it. Plus then because the shorter it is, the more RNG it is in terms of like, you just got unlucky, he flees the wrong way and he just gets a massive regen, and then you have to reset everything. Like there's a lot. because basically what really ends up happening is the older he gets, the slower he regenerates his hit points.
Okay.
When he's fleeing around and he's old, like let's say he's 2 weeks, it's almost a guarantee it's going to be like maybe 2 rounds max because he's not going to regenerate much, so he's always going to eat those hits. But you're going to get unlucky when it's the really short version because he might flee into the lava twice, and in the lava he regenerates even more, and he's going to be max to, he's going to go from wounded to hurt real quick, and then you have to hopefully get him down, but now your group's all beat up, so you have to go regen, and it's just a pain.
So it's kind of like he's drinking constantly, and
kind of
around once around 7 days he starts to get sleepy, basically. Okay, but it's cool because now if there's multiple groups independently doing Balrog, nobody knows when the last time he died, right?
That's a good point.
So you think like, okay, let's do Balrog. You might be walking in on him like 2 days fresh.
That would suck.
Still in the angry drunk phase, but nobody knows, right? Right? Is that the right kind of? How do you?
There are ways.
I don't know.
I mean,
those
you
ways.
can know if it's 2 days old.
Really?
How do you do that?
Oh,
I'll give away some secrets. So it's actually so.
I always just thought he was kicking my ass, and that's how you knew.
Yeah.
This is also part of knowing about if any loot is going to load. You have to go in there and examine it. If it's wielding its sword and its whip, then it's probably going to load something. But if there's a Balrog and it doesn't have its sword and its because remember the sword and the whip decay really fast. So you can actually kind of use that a little bit to determine when it was, sort of what day it was killed on. If you see it without the sword and the whip, and then the next day you see it with the sword and the whip, it's like really fresh. It's really
okay.
fresh.
So it's like Muranog. As soon as he dies, he'll probably repop without Corporal, but maybe a few days later he'll have Corb, kind of thing.
I don't think Balrog instantly repops, but it.
Sure. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure. I mean, you can ask someone.
But the EQ, the load pops progressively, including the artifacts he has on him. Basically, is what you're saying.
Yeah. I mean, the artifacts are an indicator of how recently it was done.
I see. Okay.
Because I'm pretty sure it is possible for it to be loaded without its artifacts. Yeah, I could be wrong. I might be talking crap and someone can correct me. But
this whole conversation is making me realize that I have never examined the Balrog. I always too busy for that.
That's usually was the first thing I do, especially when I knew there were rival groups. We'd go in there and examine it, and there, like, I swear there was some times when it wasn't wielding anything. I'm trying to remember.
I mean, because Muranog, my understanding, actually, I don't know. Yeah, this is just my kind of vague understanding. So if anybody wants to talk shit and correct us, that's very welcome. But like Muranog, he'll pop. He might not have the huge black mace, but then if no one kills him, maybe you check him a couple days later, and he might have the huge black mace then, right? Right? That's my. Is that right, Peter? Or like?
See, I don't know either because I don't understand the like what if he loads with ornate for some reason, and then someone has the huge black mace in game and the huge black mace decays. Is that going to remove the ornate and he's going to get the huge black mace, or does it wait for the next pop? I have no clue how that works actually.
Well, it wouldn't. It would definitely be on zone pop. I don't think the code just works like whatever code does.
But like, would it be an immediate fresh like back to back pop, or like ornate to HBM, or?
So Karinos in the chat says no, that isn't right.
The reason why EP can load purple over time is because he isn't holding anything, but every pop is a chance for him to hold the scroll. Okay, got it.
So he's saying if he loads already holding something, that will not be replaced. But if he loads like with empty hands, then possibly the scroll will manifest in his hand. Okay.
Dev Mew says, I don't have any in-game knowledge to do that. My highest level character is 19, and all I've been doing is solo XP. All right, so this guy needs to lead the next Balrog.
Yeah. Well, hey, man, based on what's happened in the past 5 years, I think he can do it.
Yeah.
I think in 2 years, this guy can be a Balrog leader. We've seen that, everybody's stepping up. Everybody's leading Balrog these days. But, okay. So maybe Nick, maybe your theory is then Balrog, he can pop empty-handed, and then uh, maybe his sword and huge flaming sword and whatever load progressively. Has a
Maybe.
chance to load those on subsequent zone pops.
Yeah, I mean, I'd love to know the answer to that because I'm fairly certain I've seen him without the whip and the sword, but that was for us was quite obvious. It was the new Balrog because
Yeah.
you just
Well, I guess it
you know
has to be
very
that way.
quickly
Just
when it's
over
a new
there,
Well,
Fair
Balrog.
actually,
handing
hold on. No, Nick, it has to be that way because those are artifacts that darkies can use. So it wouldn't if he has to be able to load without those, because otherwise that would be an infinite supply of those artifacts.
Well, yeah, but he doesn't load instantly. I do know he
Yeah, but
doesn't load
it's like
instantly after he's
24
dead.
hours.
Yeah.
It's
It's
still
something like
within
that.
the artifact's going to be
yeah.
around still.
Right.
Yeah,
So if a darky keeps flaming sword or whatever and rinse, then and whenever Balrog pops, to your point, Nick, it's not. Maybe it's a day when whatever. I don't know when that is. Maybe he pops the next day. He won't have it. Yeah, and then okay, that makes sense. That is actually that makes a lot of sense as a somewhat reliable way to. At least it's like it's not. Maybe it's not 100%.
Gauge if it's like 3 days old or something.
Yeah. At least if you see a naked, unequipped Balrog, then you know he's
And you
ready
know
to
you're
fight.
probably not going to get any loot either
Right.
because
Hey, but
the artifacts haven't popped. So,
if he doesn't have whip, he can't throw you out of the room. So maybe it's easier. Who knows?
but he's young and full of Viagra at that point. So
He
I
is.
Yeah,
just,
he's had-
chalk. He's got a raging something going on
He's
there.
had 6 Coronas and yeah, he's snorted some Adderall in the dive bar bathroom. He is ready to go.
Dude, it's not Adderall, man. He snorted something. It wasn't Adderall though. But
So wow,
but,
I just gotta say, so Mammoth, dude, you came back 12 years. You came back and you were leading Balrog within like what, a couple weeks, 3 weeks? That fast?
It was a bit more. I think like more like a month. But
Wow. Still, wow.
was that your first time leading Balrog, or had you done it before your break?
I had only done it with someone else leading, so I figured
Oh.
it's something I haven't done before. I specifically wanted to try.
That's
What was that
badass.
like doing that for the first time, having to sort of organize everyone and sort of be responsible for that many people and doing it for the first time? What was that like?
I remember I was very focused when we actually went in, and surprisingly, the first run was, I would say, one of the smoothest. The follow-up runs were not good. The first one went very well, and then we thought, okay, like no problem, that's easy. But no, sometimes he surprises you.
yeah, Balrog is one of those ones for sure where like you think you've got it under control, and then every once in a while, like things go to shit fast, you know.
So when you did it, did you try to sort of do it the old-fashioned way? Like, did you get the rings and then try to charge throne or whatever, or did you skip the rings and use a player as what I call a hitter or a chaser, and like a single player will just try to chase Balrog north, so he's just south of the throne, and then beat him back towards the group when the group stands to south of throne? Like, what was your strategy?
No, we didn't have anyone solo. We just had a group and chased him down. And we had the rings as well. We took the preparation seriously.
Gotcha.
Nice.
Gotcha. If you don't mind me asking, Mammoth, what setup do you use? Like, what client are you using, and are you a light mode or a dark mode guy?
Dark mode.
Nice.
It's JMC, really ancient one.
Okay. I used JMC for the longest time too.
Yeah, because only reason is because that's the client I used when I stopped playing, and I still had the settings from way back then.
Also,
And I don't see any features missing that I would want to use that I don't have on JMC.
yeah, JMC is also fairly intuitive to use, I feel like. So it's relatively newbie friendly.
Is it like riding a bicycle where you come back after 12 years and it's all just there, or did you like find it a hard transition, like the speed, the text, the spam, the commands, or was it all? Did it all just like flow through your fingers, like just come right back?
Well, I thought it would be like riding a bicycle, that you come back and you continue where you stopped. But the first few times I died in PvP, when I checked the logs, I was surprised. Like, okay, what am I doing here? What am I doing here? Like, why am I moving this direction or doing this and that? So, yeah, too much info coming in, and I cannot process it like I could before.
Yeah.
Like very, very simple example, we were fighting outside Dark Tower, just doing some shenanigans like killing the mobs in the front room, then trying to flee some mountless darkies in there, and so on. And at some point, I recall more darkies came. We were outside, and they were trying to flee us into the room, and we knew what they were doing. And of course, I fled north into the Dark Tower. And I knew that I have to go back south. But then when I checked log, as soon as I fled in, I went down. And it came over.
Oh,
I have no idea why. I still don't know.
You know, that is first of all, every single log I ever check of myself, I do exactly things like that. So, but you know, a really interesting phenomenon, which I have certainly observed, and this is the first time I've ever talked to somebody else about it, is the memory you have of what you did during a fight is frequently very different than what you actually did in the fight. Right? Like you think you went north and hit or something, but then you realize like you didn't hit at all, or you think you like you you think you were bashing and you weren't, or like you realize you didn't, like you think you changed your target and you were hitting elf or something, but you actually never changed your target and you were just hitting the wrong thing the whole time. Like it's so frequently when I read my own logs, I'm like, why? What the hell? Like this is not what I thought I did. No, I totally. That's very, very, very reminiscent for me. Yes.
You're on quick spells the whole time. Gorwoke in chat says, ask Mammoth if he remembers being asleep real life in BBT with the puke alarm to wake up.
And this is sad. I actually do remember it.
You had like an alarm for, you basically just camped out in BBT?
Yes, so this is me publicly admitting to cheating, I guess.
Uh-oh.
So there was possibility in the client to make a sound alarm based on text. And yes, at one point I had a setup with the alarm, and I actually went to sleep, and I had the PC connected to my boombox player. And when the pukes would enter, then massive sound would wake me up, and
It's amazing.
it was a great
just
success.
imagine this klaxon sound.
That is not cheating though. That's just ingenuity right there.
Yeah, I don't think that's cheating. It's only cheating if you're like in another window. I don't think you can be falling asleep. I don't know if falling asleep counts as cheating.
What? I don't think using audio prompts to give you.
No. There's a rule that says basically if basically you have to sort of be responsive. So if you're in another window and you forget that you're logged into Mume and a member of management sends you a tell and you don't respond, they can just like force you to link rent or whatever.
Really?
Yeah, you have to be there.
I don't know if
You
that's
have to
ever
be at the
actually
keyboard.
enforced, but
Honestly,
Yeah. Yeah.
Vile Wagsy brings up a good point here. It sounds rough waking up and immediately trying to PK. Like that would be
Yeah,
like through the stupor of sleepy eyes, like trying to.
am I dreaming? Am I not dreaming?
That's
Take
imagine you like hook up with someone, bring somebody home from the bar, and then 3 a.m. You're like, sorry, I have to go fight elves right now.
I have to kill the pukes.
I wouldn't even know what side I'm on. Like I just start hitting everything, you know.
Oh.
Well, yeah. Initially, of course, I was super confused when I woke up, but I think the pukes were more confused. They were surprised there is an actual troll there, and it gave me some time.
Actually, Gorwok is saying it would be considered cheating now if you need triggers to not void when AFK. That rule happened because of troll AFK in PBT. So
Wow.
you might be the cause of a rule. We'll call it the Mammoth rule. That is pretty funny though. So have you been involved in a lot of PK since then, or since you came back?
Yes.
You were saying that.
It has been a sort of a roller coaster, I would say.
You were saying that you did get on the Warlord list for a minute there, right?
Yeah, yesterday for half a day, I guess, and then actually I recall there was some darkies were out west. I was playing Puke, Manaja, and there was a fight in Old White, and we killed Uguluk and bunch of others, and that popped my Whitey to number 10 spot in Warlord's list, and then Uguluk dropped out of Warlord's list and pushed Mammoth to number 10. So yesterday I had, for a moment, I had 2 characters in Warlord's list on both sides. But
nice.
later that day already I died 2 times on the Whitey, which reversed everything. So Whitey dropped off the Warlord's list and someone pushed Mammoth off. I think it was Sumba. Sumba pushed Mammoth off because he killed my Whitey. So yeah, it's a roller coaster.
Sumba's been playing a lot too, another old returning player.
Do you how has PK changed? Like, is it the same old fight, same old game, same old techniques and stuff as 12 years ago, or back when you played a lot, or has it evolved and changed a lot? Does it feel different?
I think the playing field has evened a lot. Like partially
there's not as many noobs to pick off. Yeah.
That's one thing, and also I think the mapper and the functions around opening and manipulating exits has evened the playing field.
Well, apparently it does still happen. DevMew in the chat is saying whenever he tries, it's usually a level 80 smoke against my level 15 elf, which it does happen. It still does happen for sure. But if you could see some changes happening in the PK realm in order to kind of like modernize things a little bit, what would be some things you'd like to see? Actually, before we get into that, what class do you normally PK with? Like, what is your normal? Are you like on the warrior side of things, more mage? What do you normally play?
I'm following the mainstream on whatever is powerful I play. So Mammoth used to be a warrior for the longest time, but I changed him into a shaman. And on Whitey side, I've been mostly playing casters. And I'm actually not very good at casters. I think warriors are much more simpler, and I'm used to playing warrior.
Okay, gotcha. Have you experimented with like puke war mages at all?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I have.
Gotcha. And so if you had to like kind of modernize the PK experience a little bit, or change something about PK, what would it be? Or do you think it's in a great state right now?
I think it's in a great state.
Okay.
There's plenty of like incentives for skirmishes, like this. Parks need to raid Zok to mend Mithril. This is a good change. There's lots of places where you can sort of provoke a PK to happen. You go raid Dark Tower, Darkies get a message. If there's any PK-minded Darkies out there, they will come, and so on. And I think the best change for PK has been this reduction of EXP loss on higher levels, because I recall on Mammoth I sort of got stuck around level 70, like it from experience perspective it all balanced out. Like I died one time, I lost like, I don't know, 800k, 900k, then I would get some kills, would get the XP back, and then I would die and lose it all again. So I didn't see any progression anymore. I couldn't level up anymore from PvP. I recall from history I have been level 71 5 or 6 times, so it just bounces up and down. But now with this change, I see it's doable to progress the character purely on PvP even, and I think that's great.
So the reduction in punishment
Yes.
on the PvP side was sounds like a good call. Also, it sounds like, and this is something that we've talked about on the podcast before, but you mentioned for Dark Tower, one of the reasons that makes it good is that it signals to other, possible adversaries that, come here, there's a fight, because one of the side effects of the way that the world has expanded is that it is harder to just randomly come across people now. So it's good feedback to hear that mechanisms which allow you to at least signal that you're in a certain place and looking for a fight are helpful,
And I also I quite like the Dol Guldur zone. I haven't done much PvP there yet, but I like that there are semi-safe spots for even whiteys there, and they have big incentive to go there. So yeah, this is great too.
Yeah,
it's a fun zone. It's a really cool zone. I like the design. I wanted to like Emin. I don't know. Have you done much in Emin? Because I wanted to like Emin, but it's so complicated in the layout that I like Dol Guldur. It's much more straightforward without being just a flat grid. There's bottlenecks, but it's not like every single way to somewhere else is a bottleneck that you have to learn. I don't know. Have you played with Emin, and what was your thought on Emin?
So Emin is Mirkwood, right?
Yeah, it's like where the Fell Beast are and the different captains there. It's kind of the east of the New Mirkwood. It's hard to know what New Mirkwood is anymore because they keep expanding Mirkwood.
Right, so I've been there once. Today I was exping there with someone who was more knowledgeable about the zone, and then one friend has led me to kill what you call the spider thingy, Prukra, something like that.
Yes.
But I don't know much about the zone. For example, I don't know if these orcs are aggressive to Tarknarbs or not, or what's the deal overall.
That's actually a good question because I don't know if I've ever even XP'd there on an orc. Mike, Peter, do either of you know?
I do not know.
Yeah.
Off the top of my head, I do. I'm pretty sure they are, though. I'm pretty sure they are. But
I mean, they're definitely
our boy Karinos in the chat says, yes, Emin orcs are aggro to Tarks. Yeah, I thought. Otherwise, that would be incredible. Dude, can you imagine just the potential of that as like a low B, mid B XP zone? Like you just hang out in like massive safety, and that would be incredible. Oh man.
Have you experimented with the new Maruk orcs at all?
Very little bit. I started the new one, but I didn't level it. Him up too much.
What did you think of that intro?
It was funny.
Yeah.
And actually very, very good, I would say. It would discourage maybe if some complete newbie will try the race, he will give up. And I think it's good for the dark side.
How many times did you die at all coming out, or how many times did you die getting out of there?
What do you mean? Like
getting out of the Zogger's slave pits?
You just go up west, open door north. I mean, what's
Oh, so you just okay. Well, when it first came out, it was actually on stream, and there was a whole bunch of players trying to figure it out, and there was a lot of mass death there. Now that people know how to do it, it's a lot.
Oh, no, actually, I died. I died 13 times.
Trying to act cool over here.
So I guess that because I haven't tried any of this, and I'm assuming you just do it the once, and once you're out of the zone, then you don't do it again on that character, or do you have to go through that every time you die on that orc?
No, you don't have to go through it again. Once you
That's what I
make
figured.
it to the New York caves, you're sort of safe. But I recall after like dying 7th time, I started manually mapping again using like paper and pen because I got so annoyed. I didn't know where I can go, where I can't, but it still took me 13 tries. So I don't know what makes me.
I think that puts you relatively on par. There was like 5 or 6, maybe 7 players trying it originally, and there was literally just a wall of dead orcs every room you walked into.
Yeah, I died 30 times. 30. I did it live on stream. I was the very first. I think I was the first person to make a Morik orc. I think. But it's fun as hell. Yeah, but I was doing the same thing, man. I had a pencil and paper at my desk, so I'm like trying to talk on the podcast and manually map those caves. It was fun.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But you also said that you started a new character on the puke side, right? To kind of get reacquainted with things.
Right.
So that also means did you go through the Gandalf quest?
Yes.
What did you think of that?
It was a positive surprise.
Okay.
Because back in the day, I didn't think about it because my brother would tell me everything. But if a completely new player would come, like through the old Mume and just start out, he would just be in, I don't know, Halls of Mandos, I think, and know nothing, like what to do. But I think this intro was great. Gives you at least some very basic knowledge that you know that you can flee and move and manipulate doors and so on.
Mm-hmm. So even as a returning player, it was still interesting. It didn't feel like a waste of time, etc.
No, not at all. I actually did. I don't know if all, but a lot of the Tower Hills quests as well, and they really helped to get started.
Mm-hmm. Okay, good, because that was definitely a big concern with a lot of when it first came out. A lot of experienced players, or at least some of the feedback from the people designing it, or concerns were just like, well, our experienced players going to want to do this, is this just going to be a waste of time, etc. But it seems like it's been well received by both old and new players, certainly new players for sure. So that's good feedback as well. But yeah, did you ever end up making a god character and building anything in Mume?
I did end up making a god character, but I failed my test zone just out of lack of interest and laziness. I was describing some planes in a zone. And
the most interesting thing you can do.
Yeah, I just saw it. It wasn't for me. I just made the god out of curiosity.
I think most people failed their first test zone. I'm pretty sure I failed my first. I don't know what happened. This is so far back, but yeah, describing 30 different ways to talk about grass is definitely a fun exercise for sure. So.
Yeah, I honestly don't know. I don't want to I have to be careful what I say here, but I kind of feel a little bit that the test zone they assign to people is kind of the lowest, very much the lowest grunt work. And I think a lot of people are like, this sucks, but I don't know. I wonder how many people, I almost feel like if someone's eager to put in that creative effort, maybe they should have the first task as a bit more of a creative outlet to get people excited and get the creative energy flowing rather than just going straight to the kind of the drudgery. But I don't know. Maybe that's a controversial take. Probably Rogan will.
I don't think it's a controversial take. I think a lot of people share that sentiment. There's quite a bit of good counter arguments to that on why it's a good idea to like see if people are committed and stuff like that they've talked about. But I don't think that it's uncommon for people to be like this sucks, because it is grunt work. It's totally grunt work.
There are some rooms called endless planes in the game, and now I'm just thinking of that. And I'm like, someone was probably being a bit sarcastic when they wrote that room name, endless planes. I don't know. Planes and more planes.
The joke always is, it could be worse. You could be describing ocean rooms. And it's like, okay. I would have fun describing ocean rooms, but let's do it, baby. I'm sure you guys are familiar with ChatGPT now at this point, because it's like everybody's talking about it, and we've talked about it in the past, trying to see if it can do some room descriptions recently. I've been trying to use it recently, and man, it's so much fun. I'm actually being way less productive with it because I'm more concerned on trying to make it work than actually getting descriptions out. But
welcome to computer programming, dude. You have a great career as a computer programmer.
There you go. So yeah, I've been extremely unproductive, but I've been very productive in figuring out ways to almost make a room description.
Well, dude, there's one problem is what we need to do is, and this is like on my list, is we need to export the mapper map and then give all of that map context to GPT as a prompt or a preamble, and say, given this, give me one more of these, so to speak. So it learns kind of the ARDA, so to speak. And something I really want to do is I want to actually hook that up with the path you're walking. So it's like, say here's 70 room descriptions in a row. Like I've gone 1, 2, 3, 4. Like saying this is a path, right? So I've gone north, east, 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 north, east, east, right? And make those, like, give ChatGPT the room description path that I'm on, and say, okay, what's the next room? What's the next room? And so hopefully we could actually do something cool, like you go into Mirkwood and you reach the end of the map, all the way in the southeast corner of Emmen or whatever, and then we just say, okay, what's the next room? And it like keeps that journey going for you. I think would be really cool.
That would be really dope. Absolutely. Although I have noticed, when I tried giving it some like Lord of the Rings specific prompts, like, hey, like, could you give a Lord of the Rings type scenario here? And I did that, and I don't know if they've changed something in ChatGPT recently just to like make it more restrictive, but I got this like well-written response back which was along the lines of like, that is a interesting question, but we feel like that would violate the the core message of what Tolkien was trying to do in Lord of the Rings, and you wouldn't want to change it this way. I'm like, okay, so I've never had a computer argue back at me on why I should not get the answer to my question. It was very it was a good argument too. It was like, you're besmirching Tolkien's name by thinking that he would want this kind of thing in his world, and I'm like, oh, okay, you could have just said no, but.
Translation: the Tolkien estate and Amazon probably wrote a cease and desist letter to people using it to generate fan fiction.
Maybe that honestly, it might be the case, but like, I don't know. It was interesting because it wasn't a stock response. It wasn't like a, hey, you can't do this with Lord of the Rings stuff. It was like, it was ChatGPT doing ChatGPT things, giving me like because I asked it several times and it always gave me a different answer, but it was always the same like gist of like, yeah, that's not what you should be doing with the Tolkien universe right here, because orcs wouldn't do that, or so I thought that was pretty funny.
Orcs are people too.
Yeah, exactly. And specifically, I was talking about like how orcs might be made, and they're like, Tolkien never went into how orcs might be made, so I don't think you suggest that it should do it this way. And I'm like, okay.
Which is funny because he totally did.
And not really.
Yeah.
Well, what I think, one of the failure modes of ChatGPT is when you're overly specific in your prompt, you kind of fall into a overly specific little niche of the content space that was used to train it. And so I've noticed if you say something like give me a description of what happens when a wizard visits a village, it will jump in being like, here in the Shire, like it automatically jumps into using like the specific terminology from the Lord of the Rings, even though all you said was tell me about a wizard visiting someplace, but it kind of like it jumps into like specific. It says like, well, the wizard's name is Gandalf or something. It jumps into that. So you have to be careful with it. But
here in the Shire, Dumbledore and Merlin come to visit Harry Potter.
It's easy to fall. Yeah, you're like the little boy's name is Harry. Yeah, it definitely
a lightning-shaped scar. Yeah, for sure. Mammoth, have you had any experience pulling like any outside stuff into Mume before, or do you like is Mume very much like a compartmentalized part of your life?
Sorry, I don't get the question. Probably language barrier.
Have you like I don't know what the right way to say this is, but like do you mix real life in Mume at all, or is Mume like very much like just a small part of your life and you don't talk about it with friends or anything like that, or create any fan fiction?
Well, when I'm playing, it's a big part of my life, but no, I don't discuss it with real life friends. No.
Okay.
I don't have any like, I don't know, classmates, colleagues, anyone like that that plays or even knows that I play.
Do you ever?
You keep the two separate.
Yeah.
Do you ever respond to people with like Mumisms when they're not going to understand? Like respond with like nod or.
No, I think that hasn't happened. But something far worse has happened. I have actually dreamed in text PvP.
Oh, wow. That's way worse, dude.
It is.
A friend of mine, she's going to hate me for sharing this on here, but she once told me that when she was, she was playing the game when she was a teenager, with my friend in the UK, and she told me that she had this recurring nightmare of being chased on the road by a big red line of text.
Wow. Mammoth the Orc. Yeah, no, I'm definitely guilty of typing like "say" in my texts accidentally, etc. So one thing that has often been, and you mentioned earlier that when you play Mume, you get into Mume. You know what I'm saying? Like these long sessions, and you get really involved with it. One of the comments that we've received quite a bit is that it can be difficult to play Mume sometimes because it is a big time investment. Like you can't just like hop on for 15 minutes. Would you be interested in additions to Mume which would allow it to be more casual to play, like something that like you could hop on and you could play some aspect of it for 15 minutes and hop off? Do you think that would be a good thing to have part of the game?
I'd like to see, like I can't even envision any kind of implementation that would achieve that. So I mean,
maybe like a forging mini game or a money making mini game, or
wait. We already have that. We have the blackjack dealer in Bree.
That's true. That's true. Not very popular, and definitely a money loser if you're me. Wait, is Bree the only blackjack dealer? Because there's one in Knock.
No, they're everywhere. They're everywhere. Yeah, there's one. Well, I mean,
I swear to God, if you say there's one in Lorien, I will lose my shit.
Tharbad for sure.
I think there's one in Tharbad. There's one in Bree. There's one in Knock. I'd have to think that those might be the only three, but I feel like there might be one more.
I feel like Blue Mountain should have one.
You kind of remind me of though. I don't know if Mammoth remembers this or not, but back in at least in the early 2000s, sometimes if Mume would go down for a long period of time, I forget who ran it. Someone would bring up what was it, Rainbow Mud? Was that the name of it? Where basically it was kind of like this knockoff of Mume, and you log on the game, you're instantly legend with full shining and an ornate, and you just log on and start clobbering everyone. You just have like a few rooms to fight in, and it was kind of an interesting, interesting thing from what I remember.
Yeah, you could also have like a mini game where instead of like full PK, it's like a miniature version of PK. It's some sort of player versus player game. It's not necessarily involving death, or I don't know. But like there's possibilities there. You know what I'm saying?
That like something like an arena where you could just practice without dying, like really dying, losing your gear and the XP. That, to me, that sounds awesome, because I see a lot of players don't do PvP because they are not good at it, and if they try, they die, they lose everything and waste a lot of time. But if there was a way for them to practice safely, then we would have a lot more. You could PvP, I think.
Bet money on it too, so you could earn gold if you're good at dueling or whatever it is. That would be kind of interesting. We got Diamonium in the chat here. If you give 10 golds to the lore master, he slaps you and purrs. What? How did you find that out, Diamonium?
What experiment were you conducting?
Who made that?
Soliciting him for favors? Like, what are you doing? It seems like some sort of response.
He just wanted that to be said out loud. You are a terrible person, Diamonium. I'm blaming you. But yeah, like mini games like that, I think would be pretty. It sounds like that would be well received by most players for sure. Just so that
the counter argument that I think Rogan has made even on the pod is he doesn't want to partition the game and take people out of the world and just have people log on just to play the arena or whatever. But I think the clear solution to balance the best worlds is, in order to participate in the arena, you have to get some credit of some kind, which you get by like XPing and smobbing and PvPing out in the open. So playing the game as it is today, you accrue some credit. I don't know how that would work, but you accrue something, and then it's like, okay, now I've got these tokens. Now I can go put a token in the machine, and I get to play arena now. So it could be, like playing kind of foster. Playing earns the chance, earns the try of playing arena.
Well, and you have something like Mirror already, which does exactly that. It takes people out of the main game. They can't receive tells or communication. They're effectively in the who list, but otherwise uncommunicable for an hour or whatever, however long that lasts. And the solution to that is kind of what they did for Mirror, is also just have a cooldown period, so you can't do the arena,
right,
every hour, every day. You have to wait a week to do it. So that would be another thing too, is maybe have it something that you can do once a week would probably help to mitigate any negative effects of taking people out of the game.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm still convinced that there's a way to do it that doesn't involve, like, you can have an arena style event without actually taking people out of the game. I don't think that those things are mutually exclusive. Like even just having a very highly incentivized raid, that can, like, there's ways to do this, or a dueling room or something like that, where it's not necessarily players of opposite sides, but players on your side, and it's a skill kind of a thing that you go to wounded and it's over. Like, I don't know. Like, I think there's plenty of ways to implement something like that. But actually, the Jazzry brings up a great point, which says, our best mini game right now is using stat generators to make characters you'll never play, which is so true.
Boy, that is true. That's the major game I play. Yeah. Mume is the mini game. That's the big game. Yeah.
Exactly. But yes, so we are getting pretty close to the end of the podcast here. So we're gonna give a heads up warning here. If you got any hot takes
I'm ready,
on your
baby.
mind,
I'm locked and loaded.
This is the time to think of them. And so
I am locked I am loaded with hot takes, baby.
Oh yeah. Oh wow. Multiple hot takes.
I'm ready. Yeah, I'm strapped.
well,
I'm coming in hot.
As long as someone's already popped and locked, let's go for it.
All right,
Mike. What's your hot take?
Here we go. I propose that get all corpse, a command we all know, GAC, should be a delayed command. So you type get all corpse and you get some message like you begin rummaging through the remains of Sleia or whatever, and it's a progressive command. So it's like, you begin rummaging through the remains of Sleia. ... You take his fine metal breastplate. ... You take his belt. ... You take his boots. Something like that. I mean, maybe that'd be too spammy, but something like that. So the idea is that get all corpse is delayed, but if you just want to take a single thing from the corpse, so if you just want to do get ring corpse, that is not. Exactly. Yes, exactly. Basically, just like butcher corpse delay. But if you just do a single thing, like get ring corpse or get gleaming corpse, that is not delayed. So looting single thing is an instant command. Typing get all corpse is a delayed progressive command.
So would that include? I mean, I'm assuming that would mean you could be hit and interrupted while
Exactly.
looting.
Precisely.
Would that include looting yourself?
No. Your own corpse. Yeah, great. Your own corpse would have to be a special where it's like your familiarity with your own mortal remains.
That sounds horrible.
Just groping yourself.
Yeah.
I mean, you probably would have to figure out the implementation, because I could totally see like me or someone else making a script that looks at the items in the corpse and then just spams get this.
Yeah, I think that's totally okay. Because if you do that, each one of those commands is only going to run on the 250 millisecond.
True, yeah.
And so if somebody hits you and interrupts you, you just spammed like 15 commands in your buffer, and that overspam is
pretty vulnerable. Yeah,
you're pretty vulnerable in that minute. Yeah.
Well, that's an interesting concept there.
So I'm not taking away the ability to GAC, because I know that's like the most, that and mob rip XP loss are like the two sacred issues that we basically cannot talk about. So I'm not taking it away. I'm just saying, like, make it, basically change the incentive structure a little bit. Make it more so that way people roll around and they have an alias. They change their alias GAC to where it's like get rings, get gleaming, get backpack, and that's it. And then everybody just kind of, that's like the default that everybody does: get rings, get gleaming, get backpack, or whatever. But if you really want to do get all corpse, that's a delayed command.
Yeah, it definitely.
And of course, you're vulnerable to backstab and that shit like that. Yeah.
It would also, if you do want to get all corpse, it would help promote the concept of like, okay, you win, don't just immediately retreat. You win, and you gotta have to like stand your ground a little bit,
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. And it eliminates the like when someone's about to die and everybody just starts spamming GAC or whatever. It eliminates that out of the game.
Yeah, I like it. Nick, you got any?
Not today, but I'm mulling over this idea. I like it. I'm just thinking about the implementation, how you would implement that. It's interesting.
Gotcha. Mammoth, you got any for us today?
Nothing so profound. Maybe just whiteys are not overpowered. Trolls are the great balancer.
Trolls are the great balancer. Okay. There's a lot of people that you just triggered right here, by the way.
I hope so.
If you get your tires slashed, you asked for it. All right, fair enough. For my hot,
I got more. I'm still going, man.
Do you want to go for another one?
No, you go ahead and go.
My hot take, which is I don't know if this is really a hot take or not, but descriptions should be like 2 sentences. Okay, that's all I'm saying. I'm building something right now, so I'm up on the description rampage or tear right now. I'm saying that People don't need four sentences of descriptions. 2 would be enough. There you go. Hot take. Boom. Mic drop.
Yeah, I agree with that. I don't think. I don't think I don't think a current minimum length is. Yeah, I agree.
All right.
Descriptions should just be a UUID or a
Rogan.
SSJ 256 stream.
A 64-bit integer. Yeah.
You got another one?
I do. Okay, this one is nowhere near as a big deal, but as Gak. But here one. Alderian, I think that quest is just way too tedious. It is mind-numbing, which is sad because it's a fun quest, and walking Herblore is so useful, especially depends on what if you're doing like a mage, you're leveling up a mage yourself, or like or a thief especially. Like, I love Alderian the mob. I love that little elven village. I think it's well crafted. I think it's a nice little place in Arda. But I think the quest, just the sheer repetitive nature of the quest, just you keep going to Forland over.
It's
and
like
over and
it's like the quintessential like basic quest. Like if you think of what a quest is, like it doesn't. You could like aside from an escort quest, it doesn't get more basic than that.
Yeah. So my proposal on Alderian, simple change, is instead of basically picking random destinations for some very large number of times, it should just be exhaustive. You should visit every single person once. So you go to Harland once, you go to Forland once, you go to all the druids one time each, and then here's the actual hot take part. It should include going to Rivendell and possibly even Lorien, depending on level, even if you're lobing. So if you're a lobby, if you're like level 7 and you do Alderian, it should be like, okay, you're going to go to Harlan once, Forland once, the 3 druids. I'm not sure I guess it's 3 or 4 druids. I'm not entirely sure. You go to Forland, go to Fornost and go to Rivendell. So the trade-off in difficulty is it's not as mind-numbingly repetitive, but you have to go further. So you have to actually go all the way to Rivendell as a newbie and get back alive with that letter or whatever. So
encourage actual exploring, not just repetition.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And that way people are like, hey, can someone help me go to Rivendell? Because one thing I really like about the Maelton quest, the Tower Hills quests, is he sends you to Bree, and then someone in Bree helps you go to Fornos. Like, that's really nice. It's really well done. Cause now I'm like, when I make a new character, I'm like, oh, I guess I should do those Tower Hill quests so I can get the citizenships without having to pay for it. And it feels kind of RP-ish. Like, it feels role-play-y. It feels part of the lore. You're starting your adventure, and you're going someplace with a purpose. I really like that. I think it's well done. And so I think the Alderian quest should just be updated similar to that.
Okay.
To where instead of just mind-numbingly spamming back to Forland every 5 minutes, it's go to these places with a meaning and a purpose behind it.
Rogan saying the Herbalist Flower Quest in Tower Hills is also 1,500 TPs. Well worth doing. Yeah, that's true. The new quests give you a lot of travel points.
I didn't even know that.
Yeah, for sure. Which is nice because you don't have to. That's like what, 2 zones, 3 zones of spamming. That's fresh zones.
That's a lot. Yeah, like 30 minutes of your life wasted spamming mindlessly. Yeah,
exactly. I'm 100% behind you, Mike. I don't think that going to Forlorn 4 times is something that anyone enjoys.
Spamming past those shitty mountains. Yeah. But, okay. And here's hot take 3 for me, which I promise is the last one. So I love Grey Havens. I think I still remember my first session when my very first time signing up to Mume in like 96 or whatever, and I prayed to Harlan. Harlan is so well done, and it is so atmospheric. Like, all the little mobs wandering around, and the little houses, and the little, like, there's like the clothesline, I think, in one of the rooms, and Círdan wandering around, and the bars. Like, it's so atmospheric. So one thing that breaks, you can tell I've been leveling up Lobies and testing some mapper stuff I'm building. You can tell I've been playing Lobies lately. Yeah. But one thing that breaks my heart is that with the new Tower Hills, it actually directs you away from Grey Havens. It never sends you back to Harland. And another reason why I think this is tragic is not just because you miss out on on Harland, um, is that what I'm trying to say, that they redid the Harlan zone. They redid the Harlan zone, which I think is super well done. That little zone south of Harlan, tons of mob diversity, some cool little villages. Like that's you got the Elven Weaver quest. You got that one zone that gives you like the energy, like the muddle room, not zone room, excuse me. I think that zone south of Harlan is really well done, but nobody like now new players are not being directed there. So this hot take, I think, is that I think Mailton. We should find a way that Mailton sends you, maybe to the Elven Weaver, or maybe to just Harland or whatever. I don't know, but I think we should send people to that zone with purpose because I think it's very well done, and it makes me sad because I think that zone is more atmospheric and rich and kind of Mume style than I think the Tower Hills is. So
The
okay,
Weaver is a quest, so I mean, you could have one quest lead into another.
exactly,
So,
exactly. And I think that's a really well done quest. And you go up north, and I think it's really well done. So, it's a little
Figuring out the rope is, also an interesting logic puzzle for a newbie who
exactly.
maybe is not
Yeah,
familiar
exactly.
with the game. Like figuring out what you're supposed to do, like how you're supposed to get across the cliff.
Yeah, yeah. And I just, for me personally, I just feel that that area is a bit more. It's more atmospheric and it's more rich stylistically than just than Tower Hills. I think. Anyway, okay, I'll shut up.
No, that makes
my-
sense. And you could also tie it in where Zyle here says you could have Alderion also sending you to, instead of like sending you to hermits, he could send you to quest givers, and those quest givers could be in the Grey Havens, and that way you can tie it all together. Vileswaggy also had a good idea here. He said you should, for herbs, you should be able to take your, like, a character should be able to take herbs to a herbalist. That herbalist identifies the herb for you, and then that character can just see the name of the herb, as opposed to like a low-hanging shrub here. You just see like rosemary or whatever. That also makes a lot of sense. And before I forget, we have a new newbie guide or guide that helps out newbies that was released by Sheeplord here. I'm going to post it in the chat, and then we can take a peek at it here. Big shout out to Sheeplord for getting this stuff.
He's been doing a lot of
Yeah,
amazing
he's been
work.
helping out a ton.
My guy's an animal.
For newbies here. So we're going to take a look at it. Ooh, we're a little bit zoomed out here, so we're gonna zoom there-ish. So it's going to be over going mounts, riding, and pets, which is also, pets are a very underrated part of Mume. Like even not just pigeons, but falcons. Like, there's a lot you can do with them. So huge shout out to Sheeplord here. Awesome work. Thank you for doing this. I'm sorry I was supposed to talk about this in the beginning of the podcast, but I posted.
We'll talk about it next week for sure. We'll hype this stuff.
Posted that in the chat, and I will include that in the video as well, the video link as well. But yeah, this looks awesome, Sheeplord. Thank you so much for doing this. This would have been. You've been putting in some serious work on the wiki, and I people really appreciate it. Thank you. Huge shout out there.
Yeah, I'm wondering even if there's a way we can link to this stuff from inside Mapper. So if somebody downloads Mapper, if there's a way that we can say,
It's a good idea.
Oh, go here, check out.
Put it in the help menu, or even have maybe an icon at the top.
Something like in the status bar or something. Mm-hmm. Yeah, totally.
Just we got to integrate Chat GPT into Mapper, and Mapper and Chat GPT references the wiki. There you go.
There you go.
That's all we have to do.
Actually, no, an idea. Something that breaks my heart is so the crazy thing is Mume itself, both the world and especially logs, is the perfect format for training a large language model. If we had the heartbreaking thing is we don't have the logs from everybody that's been playing, and most of what people save as their logs is like transformed via their shit, like their aliases and their actions and their subs or whatever. So
even
everybody's
their comments.
Yeah, it's a little different. But man, if we just had like server logs for everybody, we would have an incredible text data set, an amazing text, because you can conceive Mume as a 30-year history of basically curating a very special text data set of structured adventures in kind of this Middle Earth game system. So if we had that, and maybe we should start acquiring it, we would have an incredible text training set of text to train language models on. And we could train like AIs to fight. We could say based on all these PK logs, train an AI that fights. We could generate generate really smart mobs. We could generate guidance and recommendations. Like, where should I go next? Oh, you're level 10. Maybe you should look for brown bears. Like there's just like Mume is such an incredible opportunity space of generating novel, interesting text. But I think so much of that raw value on everyone's hard drives or whatever has just kind of been lost for 30 years. So I don't know. It's just like I'm watching all these like GPT algorithm videos on YouTube, and I'm like, oh my god, Mume would be so good for this. So,
well, I mean, I've saved all my logs of my play sessions since 2006, and since probably around 2013, 2014 or so, I saved the raw XML output.
Oh, great. Great, Nick. I didn't know that. Okay, yeah. So I've got like 7 or 8 years of history, but it's all with my custom So I need to start saving the raw underlying text. So
yeah. So I mean, the disadvantage of the raw XML output is that it doesn't include my commands that I send to the game. It just includes what I receive from the game. But yeah.
Unfortunately, I don't think I have any logs other than the ones I post, which is sad. But we gotta be wrapping up here. Mammoth, you got any parting shots you want to tell the community that Mume is a great game, or everyone sucks, or whatever you want to say? You got anything you want to wrap up on?
Take it easy. It's just a game.
Oh, that's perfect ending there. Perfect
That's a
ending.
great way to end it.
Thank you, Mammoth.
Yeah.
Thank you, man.
Mammoth, thank you so much for coming on the podcast.
Thank you so much.
It means a lot to us.
Pleasure. Thank you for inviting.
I hope we get to see you in game soon. Especially keep up the great work with Balrogs, and with your unnamed group there. But yeah, that was Meme Talk 25. Hope everyone enjoyed it, and we will see you guys next week. Peace out.
See you guys.